This is Glenn Cobbin Sr. One Heartbeat Podcast. We are talking about motives today. Well, it's going to be a great thing talking about motives. As you know, everybody got to have a motive. And let's see exactly what I've written down here about motives. Because I could tell you my definition and I could tell you what it means. I can tell you why I have motives and all the above. But we're going to read it right from the dictionary. Reason for doing something, especially one is not so obvious. Okay, so we think about motives, man. We think about something, why we do something. We think about, is it a good motive, bad motive, being facetious, being sneaky, being tricky, being all those words that harm or hurt someone. But if the motive is right, it can also help a person. So we're going to start off by saying we want to recognize human beings as being good. We're going to recognize as being a good. Our motive to live is going to be good, okay? And then we're going to delve into something a little deeper. We're going to delve into why people have motives against another individual or against an institution or a people or an organization or a country or something that is devious and could devastate a human being, could devastate a person, could devastate a family, a loved one, a spouse, a girlfriend, boyfriend, or just a regular friend. So this is Glenn Cobbin Sr. One Heartbeat Podcast, and we're going to try to make it right. We're going to try to make it real. We're going to try to make it exciting. We're going to do things that are normal or that are natural, that will really uplift the human being. But we're going to be honest. We're going to be rough, rugged, and raw on this One Heartbeat Podcast, sponsored by Destiny of Hope, helping our people excel. 573-268-5192. If you start listening to me and following me on these podcasts, you always going to be able to call me, because that number is forever. That number has been given to me by the Most High and has been lingering around with me for at least 12, 14 years. And again, it's 573-268-5192. And that will reach me and we can dialogue, or you can come and get on this podcast and let me know how you feel about things, what your views are, what it takes for you to be, who you are and who God created you to be if you go that far. But today we're going to talk about motives. Why do we do something, especially without having another person know why we're doing it? Now, it's okay if you're doing it and you don't want the person to know, but you still have the goodness in your heart. If you're doing it for a reason that is good and sufficient, that it's going to help, instead of harm, it's going to show love instead of hate. It's going to show truth instead of falsehood. It's going to show a gain instead of loss. Then I think that's a good thing. I think motives can be just a great thing. But when we think about it, and even some of the TV shows that comes on, it could be some dark stuff out there, and it could be like, okay, well, why did this person do that? Why is this girl mess with this girl's husband? Or why is this man messing with this guy's wife? Or why is this friend trying to gain another friend by doing something devious? So those motives can go deeper and deeper, and they cut and they last forever. And that's what we got to understand. We don't want the motives to be in there that's going to hurt a person, that's going to make a person feel depressed or hurt or not loved or smaller than the next. We can go as far as, cars, jewelry, houses, hair, money, jobs, all these things that could give a person a way of thinking that's not conducive to being a good person. So we're going to talk about the motives that are good for us. Just say, on this podcast, for instance, I pride myself on not being a hater, not being jealous, not being envious, not having some kind of dark theory behind what I'm doing, not having, I want this thing to be clever and magical. I want this thing to be so magical that people can migrate to it and get something out of it. I want this thing to be, a happy podcast. It's one heartbeat. And the motive behind this heartbeat is to show how the Creator created human animals from nature. And we all got the same heartbeat. We are all accorded together. Believe it or not, we cannot separate ourselves from another human being. If we do, well, guess what? We are doing something that's not conducive to us being natural. So when we go against the status quo, when we go against that which is natural, then it's going to be unnatural. And then the motive is going to change. Okay, so therefore, we need to keep our motives, excuse me. Yeah, we need to keep our motives clean. We need to do what comes natural. Now, you know that we could say, okay, we could grow up in an environment where we think that dope selling is something that's normal and natural. But if it goes against the law, how can it be natural? You understand what I'm saying? We are enslaved by so many different forces in this world, and the motive to enslave another human being or to enslave you called a drug or enslave you to liquor or sex or something that is not natural, then we know we are making that thing something that we worship. Let me give you for instance. Okay, now all my life, oh wow, from the age 12 to 38, I was in some type of institution, or I was on probation, I was on parole, and I did drugs, I sold dope, I whoremonged, I was with this woman, that woman. I did all these things that wasn't, to me it was natural because, well, I kind of grew up in it after I left home because of my health. I had a hard head. I went to the streets. And when I started doing something on the street, it came natural to wake up in the morning and smoke dope. It became natural to have me a little something to eat, then to drink. It became natural to have more than one woman, or to not be faithful. All these things right here. It became natural. But it is in the natural order of how I was born. That's what we have to understand. Was it natural before it became natural? See, they got this thing called metacognition. Metacognition means to think about what you're thinking about. See, was this thing that the way I was thinking became natural before I was thinking about it? Because naturally, I was born into a good home, had a mother and a father, brothers and sisters, all the above. We all ate together, prayed together. We did all these things together. But when I went to the street, the things started to change, and not saying I didn't do things that was normal. That was with other people, but the things that I was doing was breaking the law. I was harming my body. I was getting high. I was being with this woman and that woman. I was stealing. I was robbing. I was pigeon dropping. I was selling drugs. I was gambling. So now I've developed another form of natural that I created. So instead of going by the natural order of things, I've created this thing that's natural, that wasn't conducive to the way I was born, or the way I was supposed to live my life, or the way a norm of heavenly human's supposed to live. We're supposed to live with grace and charisma and finesse and naturally love another person and respect another individual. And these things right here that I was doing all those years was natural. And then to make a long story short, or make a short story long, my motives changed. Oh, wow. Now we get into something deep. See, when my motives changed from being an A student, being a supreme athlete, all this went out the window because now I'm on the street. The only thing that's supreme to me is the streets. Whatever the streets bred, then that's what I would do. It bred dressing a certain way. It bred sleeping, a certain time. When I'm lurking at nighttime, so to speak. I'm not going to school. I'm hanging out in the park. I'm doing everything that's supposed to be, natural to the streets, but it's abnormal and unnatural to the things that how I was raised. The normal order of things. So the streets became normal. It became a normal order of things for me to do things in the street. And then my motives changed. My motive was, when I was in my mother's house, my motive was to be the best athlete I could be, to be the best son I could be, to be the best brother I could be, to be the best student I could be, to be the best respecter I could be. And those motives were good because it was the natural order of things. So then when I went to the street, and it was everything respect, the motives inside the house was a normal order of things. Now, I didn't have to be violent inside my home to get respect. I just had to be respectable. Then you go to the street, you think that all you got to do is be respectable. Then it changes because now the respect to be earned out there becomes different. You had to be violent. You had to be slick. You had to be clever. You had to be, pretty boy. You had to be a slick talker. All these things. So when these things change and they start being the forefront of my life, then all of a sudden, guess what? My motives changed. And then the things that I was doing that wasn't normal, that wasn't natural, became sneaky, devious. It became, super clever, not magical clever, not, being so upfront that people know the goodness that came out of you. It wasn't that anymore. It was something totally different, and then, it's a thin line because at the end of the day, I want the money, you know what I mean? So I can have a good life, in my brain. See, the unnatural can breed some of the same value that the natural breed. But the unnatural also breed a different outcome. We talking about when you break the law, you go to jail. Because that's the natural order of things when you break the law. And the motives are different. Now, inside, if I had stayed home, went to school, I'd probably been playing pro basketball somewhere, football, track, baseball. We did all those things, man. We did these things as children in my age group, in my generation. And that would have that was the normal thing to do. That was the natural thing to do. And the motives they was clean and pure, so it wasn't I wasn't worried about jail. But then, 12 years old, I'm worried about jail because I'm doing things that's not natural. So my motives change. So we got to delve into that. And I want some feedback on this because it's so meticulously close on why, because respect is respect. Okay, how you get it will change the motive on whether you're going to receive it back or not. Y'all can go out there and be violent and people respect me because they feared me. Not because I was a good guy. I was doing things that I was fighting police officers. I got shot by the cops, so naturally I didn't like them. So, but and so naturally, the respect thing came from a violent form of thinking, from from the street level respect. But when I was playing basketball, treating people nice, saying yes sir, no sir, turning my work in on time, people didn't fear that. They loved that and they respected that. And my motives for doing that type of stuff was different. I hope I'm not getting too far off the track here, because it's such a thin line. I would love somebody to feedback, and let me know what's going on with this thing and let me know how they feel. This is Glenn Cobbin Sr., One Heartbeat Podcast, sponsored by Destiny of Hope at 573-268-5192. Destiny of Hope stands for helping our people excel. We are talking about motives today and what make a person do what they do. And should they be facetious, sneaky, or should they use clever magic? I love that word, clever magic, y'all, because it's supposed to be magical. Life is magical. If you think about, there's only one being that I know of, that could tell me how many eyelashes I have on my eyelid. And that being, I call God Allah, Jehovah. I call, the supernatural, the knower of all things, secret and open, the King of the worlds, Lord of the worlds, and the reason I do these things is because I need to follow some other than man to get where I'm going, because I'm, the reason I do all this stuff because I want to talk about heaven and hell a lot. I want to put that out there. I want to talk about reward and punishment. I want to talk about how you get ready to have a better life after this life. We know that we're going back to the very source in which we came from. And in doing that, our motive should be different. Our motive for loving the next human being, we corded together. That's why it's called One Heartbeat. If you heard me, you heard an animal. If you heard an animal, you heard me. If you heard nature, you heard me, because I am nature. So these are the reasons that I do these podcasts, because I want people to know that there is reward after this. There is an afterlife, young men and women out here, old men and women, Muslim, Catholics, Buddhists, Hindus, I believe, totally believe, that there is a world beyond this world. I believe that this body that we got, this body ain't gonna mean as much when we're gone. We're gonna be on a whole nother plane, which I prefer to call the soul plane. And we have to understand these things. We have to delve into some reading and some studying, some meditating, fasting and praying to understand that, we got to have the right motive to get to this place called heaven. And the wrong motive will get us to this place called hell. And I believe in that totally. If we think about it, if you could tell me how many eyelashes I got on my eyelid, I will follow you to the depths of hell. I know you can't do it. That's why I said that. So I know I'm going to follow the person who can tell me how many eyelashes I got on my eyelid. And I call that the supreme being, God, Allah, Jehovah, okay? The bestower, the problem solver, the king, the Lord. So many beautiful names I could call him. The creator is my best name, is the creator, because he created everything. He know what goes on, whether you know it or like it or not. And we have to be aware of these things. We have to be aware that that there's a better way out. We got to love each other, y'all. And our motives got to be clean. If I say I love you, and I love you because I want your money, what you think that motive is all about? That's not clever magic. That's stupidity. I love you because you're beautiful, because you got a beautiful heart, because you're respectful, you're clean, you're decent, and you love life, you love God. These are, if I love you for those reasons, the motives are so beautiful. Now, if I had a bad motive and I say I love you, the outcome is going to be the same, but and the motive and the reward is going to be different, because I'm being sneaky, I'm being facetious, I ain't being real, I ain't being genuine. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we have to really, really think about what we're doing here. We got to really, really think about it. If we don't think about it, then guess what's going to happen? We're not going to win out here. It ain't going to happen. So we got to make sure. We got to make sure that we're doing the right thing so that we can just keep it going, and keep it going. And we got to keep on striving. We got to keep on believing in ourselves. We got to keep loving ourselves. We got to keep loving our neighbors. We got to love God. We got to put God first. And our motives got to be right. God knows when you're faking. He know when you're faking. So in the karma and the backlash behind faking with God is terrible. So make sure you understand what's going on, and make sure that your motives are clean and pure, that you can have a good life. You can have a great life, And I believe that we all can get there. All we got to do is listen, love one another, respect one another. You know what I'm saying? We got to look out for the lady crossing the street. We got to look out for our neighbor. We got to confront people in a loving way, and we got to hold people accountable. We got to hold ourselves accountable. We got to live a clean life. We got to live a pious life. That's what motive is all about, man. If we got the right motive to live a pious life and a great life, man, it can happen. It can happen. We don't have to be no rich pro ball player or rapper or TV star to do what we got to do in our neighborhoods. We need to get out there and do it with an open heart and an open mind and the right motive, and we can make peace on this earth. And that's what it's all about. We got to be peaceful out here. We got to have peace before we go. We got to date, and when we die, we got to die in a state of peace, so we can assure our place in the heavens. And when we're going to get into that later on, how many heavens it is there really a heaven? There's proof of it. All these things that make things feel good to us, after this world's gone, there's some direction out here. All you got to do is study, man. Study to show yourself approved, what God's word say. And then things can happen for you that's unbelievable. I've been through it. I've been through hell, man. I mean, this hell right here ain't nothing like the hell that's waiting for you if you have the wrong motive in this life right here. This world right here, we got to have the right motive to get to a better world. If we got the wrong motive, we're going to get to another world, but it ain't going to be the world that we like. It's not going to be the world that we like. It's going to be a world where it's ugly. It's It's gruesome. And one of these days, when I really get good at these podcast things, and my research start to get better and better, I'm gonna give you a description of the hell that I study. See, I study a hell and a heaven that's really the paradise that's so beautiful. The trees are much bigger. The fruit tastes different. The smell, you don't even remember nothing but the good you had on this world. I studied that type of heaven. And the hell that I study is 7 times hotter than the fire. And, and the suffering that you got to go through if you make this life a pitfall. But see, this is a good thing. You have an opportunity now, because I'm trying to wake up the brothers and sisters. I'm trying to be the speech for the speechless and a voice for the voiceless. So you won't have no excuse to go to a place to where you're going to regret that you should have lived a better life on this plane right here. I want to wake people up. I want to be that change agent. I want to give it to you in the raw. I want to give it to you in the real. I want to be genuine. And if it takes my life trying to be genuine, that's what it's going to be about. Because I got to give a life in order to gain a life. And God has put me in position to do this podcast, One Heartbeat Podcast, to demonstrate how animals, nature, and humans can coexist of all different walks of life. Young, old, so-called black, so-called white, Hindu, Indian, Hispanic, Asian. Doesn't make any difference who you are, where you come from. We all are corded together. We all are one and the same. And we have to love one another. We have to love one another. And our motives to love one another got to be genuine and pure. And it's got to be for the right reason. And we can't be haters toward our brothers and our sisters. We can't be haters towards our mother and our father. We can't be haters towards our cousins, our aunts, and uncles, grandpas. We got to be genuinely loving so that we can demonstrate peace on any level. And I think we can get the job done. I think if we all just say a prayer on a daily basis, God, have mercy on me. God, show me mercy in this world and the hereafter. Show me mercy so that I can be a better place, so I can be in a better place, so I can treat a human being better, so I can treat an animal better, so I can treat nature better. God, show me, touch my heart. See, there's a place in your heart where only God's supposed to be. I'm talking about your spouse, your child, your money, sex, alcohol, cars, houses, don't make any difference. Only God's supposed to have this one particular place in your heart. If you put anything there other than God, then your body going to fail you. Your mind going to fail you. So we got to really understand these things. If we don't understand these things, man, we are going to lose. Oh boy, motives, man. It's something else, man, because once we get it right, man, we can sleep at night. We can sleep at night. We can give God's. You know what I mean? We can give the Creator what we're supposed to give the Creator. And it's going to be okay. Right now, with this COVID-19 out here, and these shootings, we got a COVID-19 out here that's killing people. And then we got people out here that's killing people. Come on now. Think about it. You think God ain't upset with all of us as a whole, as a people? We got to get it together. We need to get on our knees. Lay flat, your forehead and our nose, stand up, humble yourself in front of the Creator and ask for mercy and apologize and say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. God, please forgive me. Give me another opportunity to show you that I can be that one you created me to be. We all need to do it on a daily basis all day. In the name of God Almighty, period. Forget about calling yourself a Catholic, a Christian, a Muslim, a Hindu, a Buddhist. Just be a believer. That's it. If you don't know what another school of thought is, don't down it. Embrace the commonalities of it and have a right motive for doing so. Make sure your motive is good for embracing a Muslim, for embracing a Christian, a Catholic, a Protestant, a Hindu, a Buddhist, Nation of Islam, Circle 7, a Muslim. Make sure your motives are right. Don't worry about what they call themselves. Look at what they're doing. Look what they're feeding. Are they feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, giving water to the thirsty, visiting the sick and in prison? Are they doing these things? Are they smiling at a person, at the stranger? Jesus himself said, if a stranger come to your door, open, because it may be him.